My son's fear of being judged was greater than his fear of death. His name was Andy. He was the easiest child that you ever could know. Just was easy to raise. He was a straight A student, athletic, had a lot of friends. He was an exchange student in France. He played the violin. I had to work that day, and he had asked me if I would take him to pick up his laptop because it was broken. We had to go to Best Buy. And I said, sure. So about 4:30 I called him, and he picked up, and I said, do you still want to get your laptop? And he said, no, they called and said it's not ready yet. And he sounded kind of groggy, and I said, are you okay? And he said, oh yeah, I was just taking a nap. And I said, okay, well, I'll be home in about an hour and a half. And I said goodbye, told him I loved him, and on Friday I always get groceries after work, so I stopped and got groceries, and I called him a couple times. He didn't pick up, but that was pretty typical. So I put the groceries away and I made dinner, and then it got to be about 10 o'clock, and I thought, gosh, you know, he still hasn't called me back. And he had a room over our garage. It was like a little apartment up there, and so I went up, and that's when I found him. And it was terrible. I just can't describe what it feels like.
You could just throw a dart. Every community is feeling this.
First 5 or 6 years on the department, I don't think I ever went to an overdose call that wasn't an attempted suicide of pills or things like that. But certainly in the last few years, there's been a huge uptick in the opioid overdose calls that we've gone to.
The average person in Cary doesn't believe that we have a substance abuse problem in our town for a lot of reasons. One is, look around you. It's picture perfect, right? So I think there's denial that it can happen in a good community like Cary.
I used to be one of those not my kid parents because, you know, he was a great student, worked hard, never got in trouble. I really didn't realize how widespread it was. I had really no idea. And even when I look back now, I can see some signs, changes in personality and losing weight and things like that, but there was always an explanation for it. And so I think if there's one thing I could tell people, it's don't think it cannot happen to you or your child, because it absolutely can.
That this is a real problem. This is not something that's happening exclusively elsewhere. This is happening everywhere in all walks of life.
What we know about opioid use is the same thing we know about mental illness and domestic violence. It's an equal opportunity thing. It doesn't stop at the border of Cary. It doesn't stop at the border of a home where you have two parents and two kids who look like they're doing well in school. It cuts across all those things. It does not discriminate.
Originally, I just said he died accidentally. And then one day I realized that that was the worst thing I could possibly do, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. And also when I realized how many other people it was affecting, I just decided I was just going to be wide open about it and share with people. But there definitely is a stigma. I mean, I've actually had people tell me that, you know, it's his own fault, he got what he deserved, terrible things. But I don't get upset about it. I just try to use it as a teaching opportunity. And some people will listen and some will not, and that's okay. And I just hope that they don't learn firsthand, you know, that it can happen to them as well. I think the best tool we have is to get out there and shout it out, tell everyone what's going on out there, make them aware.